and welcome to Lynes on Design. I'm here today with Leila Nelson, and we're going to have a good time today. We're going to talk about space, organization, and not just organizing your physical space, but you've been saying actually it helps organize your mind and make you think a little more clearly, and we can all use that. Tell me a little bit, if you will, about what you do about your business and really how you begin with a client.
Generally, when folks call me, they are overwhelmed because their physical space is either too cluttered, they can't find things, they're overwhelmed. And so when they call me in, they ask me to help them straighten out their space, create a system where now I can find things, now my life works. But once we begin to talk, we realize that it's not just space, it's about time, it's about setting goals and doing the things in life that you love. And if you're spending time looking for things, or if you're digging around in your closet for clothes to wear on any given morning, and half of them don't fit, or you can't find them, then that takes away from the time you might want
to be sitting out here listening to all of the sounds of the outdoors, which
to be able to chase your dreams and do the things that give you pleasure. So we often start with space. So one of my first questions is, what is your greatest frustration?
I think my are you asking me?
I am.
All right, my greatest frustration, and tell me what you guys think, because I'm sure we all go through this, is that my house is an older house. So it means that it's I don't want to say choppy, but there are small chunks of space as opposed to big open space. So my pantry, my closet, my bathroom doesn't have the best storage. So I feel like things are layered on, layered and layered and layered, and there's never quite enough room.
Well, sometimes we can create space by going vertical, but if it's an older home, you have just so many cubic square feet of space you can use. So we utilize them in the best way, and that comes down to anything from, where do I place things? I'm going to place things in this plane.
Right.
Those things, those that I use a lot. Those that I don't, I'm going to go vertical with. All right? Those that I don't need, but still often, but I still have to get to, I'm 5'3", most likely to put down, not up. Because if I go up, I have to climb a ladder. Okay?
Yeah, that's
so it's
true.
those kinds of things that we would explore. In terms of a small house with small spaces, I would ask you to help define what it is on any given day that probably would cause you the most difficulty. And that would be the place we would want to begin.
Probably like any other woman, trying to figure out what I'm going to wear in the morning is always a little bit challenging.
And closets are great fun because from when you begin to work in your closet to when we're done together, there's big change.
I mean, do we really need 640 white tops?
No. And one of the things that I do is I help people. You need a bunch of them. It's like you need the basic blacks. When we do a closet reorganization, not only do we work on the space, we work on the needs. So I start with pad of paper, and I start making notes of what's missing. I've worked with a client, and we got all done putting together the things that she needed and she didn't need, what fit, what didn't fit, was too old and could have been stored because it was sentimental. And I noticed significant voids in her work wardrobe. So we wrote down, she needed a pair of basic black slacks, she needed this, and she needed that. She didn't see it because she lived with it.
Exactly.
I saw it as we cleaned out and put things back together. Same thing's true with the garage. When we work with men, particularly the men, in a garage, we often have, in our environment, hand-me-down stuff. We have 14 screwdrivers, some of them rusting. We don't need all of them. So that's what we do. So some of it's paring down.
I can see where there's a lot of psychology and counseling to all of this, because I already have an attitude about it.
Well, the interesting thing is, when folks call me in, I don't make the decisions.
Right.
I ask lots of questions. And yes, I will give you a kick if you're going to say, oh, but Leila. I'm going, come on, you haven't touched it in 3 years? Do you really need it?
Are we good about knowing, look at this little love bug's having the best time. Do we really know what we need and what we don't need? Do you think sometimes we lose our objectivity because it is our space?
Absolutely, absolutely. That's why I can see what's missing in a wardrobe, and you may not be able to.
What are some of the other questions that you would ask?
I would ask, what would be a short-term goal? Because when people start to work, they want to see success. They want to be able to see. So if you could say to me, Leila, I need to be able to walk in my office and go find something. So what I'm going to start with is your table, the desktop. And no, I'm not going to start at the bottom. I'm going to start at the top, because the top is where you put the last things.
Well, and you know, one of the things going on that is, I think as we all walk in, do you recommend, I've always wanted a place when I walk in I can just sit my things.
We create that.
Do you create, but not that. Just junky, I mean, so that it looks decent when you have folks visit?
The interesting thing about any kind of organizational system, whether it's your closet, your pantry, your garage, your office, is you build in strategic setups that work for you and allow you to maintain it. If I go in and fix your office up and put everything in its place and you can't retrieve it, it is useless.
Gotcha.
So it's all about retrieval. That's why I wanted the pantry and things like that in the mid-range where I can reach them. Because if I can't get it, it doesn't matter how pretty the structure is, how pretty the space is. I need to be able to get it. And I need to be able to remember.
Okay.
And I'm the customer at this point. If I have a system that works for me, that's great. Your system will be different, because you think and look for things differently. So my challenge with a customer is to help them figure out, how are they going to find things? What makes sense for them?
Well, can we be brave? No, we're not being brave. I'm being brave. I may have you take a look at the closet. What we'll do is get a couple of just quick tips, because it's definitely a work in progress. And maybe what I'd love to do is have you come back again, and we'll show you kind of the before, and then we'll see what we can work on after. But I'd love, if you will, because we got her captive, if we can get a couple of tips, because you gave me a tip sheet, and just the two things that I glanced at were amazing. So why don't we do this? We're going to walk in, we'll take a look at the closet, and maybe put together a strategic plan, tell you all about it, and go from there. Thank you so much.
Okay.
All right, let's run in and take a look at that.
Okay.
All right, I said I'd be brave. I ran in, and I have to admit, I just sort of opened the door and stuffed maybe 3 or 4 things. So,
okay, let's take a look.
Yeah. As I'm seeing, I'm like, oh, I didn't do so good right here, though. All right.
No.
We're coming to a closet, which is a frightening place anyway. I'm a little
for
embarrassed.
A lot of people.
I'm embarrassed when I sit there and look at it, because I was feeling kind of cool this morning about it. All right, so what are we looking at? Take a look. Be brave. Be brave.
Okay.
And don't tell me I don't need my tennis shoes, because I need my tennis shoes.
That's just the thing, Debbie. I don't tell you what you need to get rid of.
Okay.
I ask you questions and help you figure out how it's going to work best for you.
Well, I tried to do like white shirts. I try to color coordinate it, and then like suits and skirts and shoes. But I have to tell you, sometimes I just get so frustrated, because it's all like mushed together. I hate my hangers. I don't know. What would you do?
Well, the first thing I would do, scary thing to do, we take everything out.
Oh, I don't think that's happened in 45 years.
Out.
Okay.
And what it does is it gives you a sense of the space you have to work with.
Okay.
And it gives you a chance to evaluate the things that you have. And yes, we will categorize them. And what we may do is do sport things, business things, dressy things. We may choose to take the dressy things out of the closet because they're not worn very often.
Oh, that's okay.
And so it gives me more space. And every woman's closet, I don't care how big it is looking for more space.
What is a common denominator? What do you see in everybody's closets that really would be an easy fix, if you will?
The thing I see in everybody's closet, whether that closet is neat, whether it has pretty hangers, whether it has clothes in order, is there are too many things that you don't use. The Pareto principle applies in closets and clothing. 20% of what we own, we wear 80% of the time.
And you know, that's honestly, that is so true. I find myself, do you do that when you're going to work out? I put on the same black shorts, and this is so bugging me though. See, usually this is very tidy, and this would be pushed in like this, because, you know.
But if you've had a busy, fast morning, who cares? It still has a home.
True.
One of the things that we try to do in any kind of organizing, whether it's your office, your closet, is give things a home. Your place, it has homes, but it's crowded, and I'll bet you there are some things here that might not work for you on a regular basis.
Are shoes a big issue for women?
Shoes are a big issue. Shoes are a big issue.
I want to see I have really cool new shoes. I want to see them.
Again, I'll ask people to look at the shoes. How long has it been since you've worn them? Do they hurt? Do they fit you? Do they go with the outfit you bought them to go with? Maybe that outfit's long gone. So yes, you can purge some.
let me say this, and I mean this. We've been laughing and kidding because I'm embarrassed, and that's the truth. But I think the bottom line is when I listen to you talk, and we talk about the economy, we talk about spending our money, and we talk about being time efficient and cost effective and all of those good things. When you and I talked initially, I was like, oh yeah, closet organized, sounds good. The more you and I have talked, the more I realize that it really is a state of mind.
It definitely
and that sometimes when your world is chaotic and frenzied and confused, something as simple as being able to put something like this in order really starts that process.
Absolutely. I tell people that it's not just about space. Space may be the first thing we use to help us get to feel better. I want, when someone is done working with me, to feel good, to feel like they have a control not only of their environment, but of their time and of their dreams. So if you're spending your days looking for things, or you're procrastinating filing all those piled up papers, or not paying the bills because that isn't your pleasure center, and you have other pleasure centers that are getting in and not happening, then we need to reconfigure how we do it. And I have some strategies that help people just kind of make it happen.
And last but not least, it's not overwhelming. I think right now what I feel is it was that I'm going to take everything out of the closet sentence that kind of made me.
But you don't do that by yourself. You do that with me.
Okay,
and we do it together. My best and most frequent suggestion for closets that's quick and simple, and no, you don't have to take everything out, is at the beginning of our seasons, which are generally 2 here in the Low Country, is to hang everything that you have just put there backwards on the rack. And if you wear it, you get to hang it this way.
This is so cool.
If you have at the end of the season things hanging backwards, and yes, I do from time to time, I do not have to throw it out, but I might. It might not fit. It might not have something to go with it. It might be sentimental and only sentimental, and it's taking up my precious space. Maybe I think of an alternative place to put it. But now I'm not going to replace it back into my space.
Which is limited anyway.
Which is always limited, but it's the backward hanger thing. And at first it sounds so odd because, yes, that's inconvenient. If you take it out and try it on and don't wear it, it still goes backwards.
Love it. But see, that makes so much sense. I think it's these little tips that actually make this whole process manageable. And I cannot wait to show everyone the new and improved closet. It may take like a year or so, but we'll definitely go for it.
The interesting thing for me is as I walk through this with people, whatever the space is, whatever the issue is, we have fun. We giggle, we laugh. No one's perfect, it's a process. And we have to have fun in the process because at the end you feel good.
Well, you're a doll. As always, we try to have fun here in Lynes on Design, and thank you all. Stay with us. We'll be back.